Sometime in the next few weeks, the Supreme Court will release their decision for TWSRA versus Blair, a case that could change the game for the entire beer, wine, and spirits industry. The court's ruling will determine whether major chains like Total Wine and potentially e-commerce companies like Amazon can sell in every state across the country. The way we see it, there are three potential outcomes of the case. Let's run through each one and discuss its impact on beer, wine, and spirits retailers everywhere. Back in 2016, Total Wine & More applied for a license to operate in the state of Tennessee. Tennessee state law requires alcohol retailers or major corporation stakeholders to be residents for at least 2 years in order to get an operating license. Total Wine is based in Maryland, so their license was denied. However, a federal appeals court struck down Tennessee's residency requirement, a decision that was then upheld a second time before the case went all the way to the Supreme Court in January of this year. At this level, the case has taken on far greater significance. Roughly 19 to 20 other states, including major markets like New York, Colorado, and Texas, have laws that are similar to those in Tennessee, either preventing out-of-state retailers from operating or shipping to consumers within their state. So, it's up to the Supreme Court now to rule on the constitutionality of these laws across the board. If they rule against Tennessee, every state with similar legislation will be forced to rewrite the rules affecting retailers. However, the court can alter the impact of their ruling by changing its scope, which means there are more possible outcomes than a simple for or against ruling. Let's look at the first of three major possibilities. Outcome number one, the Supreme Court writes a broad ruling against out-of-state retailer discrimination. In this case, all 19 to 20 states with similar residency laws will immediately come under scrutiny. In all likelihood, they will be forced to open the door for all retailers, including out-of-state businesses and chains like Total Wine, to operate and ship product within their state. However, a broad ruling has implications that seem to concern the justices back in January. Mainly, it could open the door for companies without brick-and-mortar locations, like Amazon, to fight for the right to sell alcohol nationwide. If Amazon recently hiring a new alcohol lobbyist is any indication, the company certainly seems ready to pounce on the court's upcoming decision. Outcome number two, the Supreme Court writes a more narrow decision to prevent Amazon or other e-commerce giants from challenging the entire industry itself. In other words, the justices would rule against residency requirements for brick-and-mortar businesses alone. So, Total Wine could still enter previously off-limit markets, but Amazon couldn't easily leapfrog the legislative changes. Outcome number three, the Supreme Court overturns the decisions of the lower courts and upholds a state's right to subject alcohol retailers in different parts of the country to different regulations. To be frank, a rebuttal of the previous two rulings is unlikely, based on the justices' comments from January and the legal precedent set by a similar case from 2005. But if this scenario does come to pass, states will maintain the ability to protect local retailers from out-of-state competitors. Whatever the ruling, the best thing a retailer can do is focus on curating the best selection and the most expert in-store experience, and continuing to integrate technologies like those offered by 3x3 Insights to hone their competitive edge. Reach out to us to learn more about the 3x3 Retail Network, and keep an eye out for the upcoming court decision. Thanks for tuning in.